Hello, I hope your rising of the day is easy and simple. Hope you had hope you had awesome sleep, peaceful sleep. But what I would like to bring to you today is the importance of having the commandments as a foundation in your life and not just reading but performing the commandments is essential or is important to understanding Torah and all of the stories that goes with the commandments. And so I want to start off by saying that when we follow the commandments, the Torah and the Tanakh can be pieced together. And the reason why I say pieced together because the books are not in chronological order. It's out of order. And I'm going to show you that out of order as I get into my examples. And I'm going to go over the examples of the king duties, and the priest duties. And I'm going to show you the out of order of that. And as I'm going over it, I may sidetrack a little bit, but I'm going to try to get back on track because I do have an outline here that I follow that's written down. But I'm going to place this outline on the screen today. And as we get started, we're going to start with Deuteronomy 4 and 6, where Moses is warning us to obey these laws carefully. Again, we must read and perform the commandments, which are the laws. So he says, obey these laws carefully. This will show the people of the other nations that you are wise and sensible. They will hear about these laws and say, truly, the people of this great nation are wise and sensible. So when they're saying sensible, the laws bring harmony. The laws, the commandments bring peace, and it's pleasing to Yah because guess what? We are on one accord as a nation of people, and there is peace between us when we are doing the laws. When each individual is doing and performing the commandments, there is harmony. There is harmony. So I'm going to go to Psalms 71 and 1 as a second example of performing the commandments, not just reading them, but actually performing them. And he says, Yah, I depend on you for protection. Don't let me be disappointed. And so, again, when we perform the laws, the commandments, Yah protects us. He really does protect us. Not just from other nations, but from sickness, from anything that will cause our lives to be in chaos. He protects us when we are performing the commandments. Not just reading them, but performing them. All right, but when we refuse to live by the commandments, when we refuse to perform the commandments, we are plagued with confusion. So I'm going to go back to Deuteronomy 28:20, and I'm going to start reading from there. And it goes on. It says, and I'm going to read 8 verses of this. If you do evil and turn away from Yah, He will make bad things happen to you. You will have frustration and trouble in everything you do. He will continue to do this until you are quickly and completely destroyed, meaning He's going to remove you from the earth. He will do this because you've turned away from him and left him. You turn away from Yah by not performing the commandments. That is how you turn away from Yah. Then Yah will send you terrible diseases until you no longer exist, until you are completely gone from the land. The Elohim will punish you with diseases, fever, and swelling. How about gout? When you're eating pork, you get gout in your feet. That is scientifically proven. When you eat pork, you get gout. Ain't that swelling? Swelling is gout. He will send you terrible heat, and you will have no rain. Your crops will die from heat and disease. All these bad things will happen until you are destroyed. There will be no clouds in the sky. The sky will look like polished brass, and the ground under you will be hard like iron. Yah will not send rain. Only sand and dust will fall from the sky. It will come down on you until you are destroyed. Yah will let your enemies defeat you. You will go to fight against your enemies one way, but you will run away from them 7 different ways. The bad things that happen to you will make all the people of the earth afraid. Your dead bodies will be food for the wild birds and animals. There will be no one to scare them away from your dead bodies. Yah will punish you with boils, like those he sent on the Egyptians. And the modern day boils today, y'all, is those mumps. I think those mumps return like in 2020. He will punish you with tumors, sores that run, and an itch that cannot be cured. Yah will punish you by making you crazy. He will make you blind and confused. And to be confused is not the best state that you want to be in. Not in this society anyway. So I'm going to go to Isaiah 19:14, where Isaiah is establishing this confusion that Yah will send out because you refuse to perform. You refuse to read and perform these commandments. Yah confused them, so they wander around and led Egypt the wrong way. Everything they do is wrong. They are like drunks, rolling in their vomit. All right, so after we have established that we got to read and perform these commandments, I'm going to go over the attributes and duties of a king and a priest. Yah separated those duties. And as we know, Moses wrote the first 5 books. So from Genesis to Deuteronomy, Moses wrote those books. All right, and that is called the Torah. Genesis to Deuteronomy is called the Torah because Moses wrote those books. And then the Tanakh is Joshua through Malachi. And Joshua through Malachi is where we see the examples of the commandments being rolled out. We see when someone performs the commandments, the rewards they get, and we see when someone does not perform the commandments, the punishment, known as curses, but the punishments that they receive. So I'm going to go to Genesis 49 because this is something that was written that established the attributes and duties of the 12 tribes. But we're going to see something that was established way before its time. And this is coming from Jacob. Jacob was renamed as Israel. And so, because Jacob was so close with Yah, that Yah renamed him as Israel. And Yah gave him this prophecy about his sons. Now, I want you to understand Jacob had 13 kids, but he did not lay out a prophecy about his daughter Dinah, but he lays out a prophecy about his sons. Then Jacob called all his sons. He said, "My sons, come here to me. I will tell you what will happen in the future." In the future. And this prophecy is still going on today, folks. Children of Jacob, gather around. Come listen to Israel, your father. Reuben, that was the firstborn. Reuben, my first son, you are my strength, the first proof of my manhood. You were the most honored and powerful of all my sons, but your passion was like a flood you couldn't control. So you will not remain my most honored son. You climbed into your father's bed and slept with one of his wives. You brought shame to my bed, to the bed you lay on. So, Simeon and Levi. Simeon and Levi are brothers. They are violent with their swords. I will not join their secret meetings. I will not take part in their evil plans. And this goes back to when Simeon and Levi honored their sister Dinah, when Shechem took their sister's virginity, and they had a secret plan to kill all the men of that group. And so this is what Jacob is referencing to, but that's another story, and we're not going to go into that story, but that's what he's talking about. And he said they have killed people out of anger and crippled animals for fun. Their anger is so strong that it is a curse. They are too cruel when they are angry. They will not get their own land, because guess what? Simeon and Levi became the priests. So guess what? Jacob is revealing that they will not get their own land in the land of Jacob. They will be spread throughout Israel. And believe it or not, we're going to get to it, but the Leviticus priests was spread throughout Israel, and they was not given land. Yah even established that in the Leviticus book. When you go to Leviticus, you will see the priest was dedicated to Yah, because Yah found it honorable for Simeon and Levi to honor their sister's virginity by not letting a Gentile defile their sister. And Yah made Simeon and Levi the priesthood, and they were not given land, but they were given tithes and offering. So this is why tithes and offering went to the priesthood, because they didn't have land. They was not given land. And so tithes and offering is a debate in itself. But yeah, the tithes and offerings went to the Leviticus priesthood because the Levites were not given land. They were not given land. All right. And so now we're going to get down to Judah, because guess what? Right after the priesthood prophecy, Simeon and Levi, here come Judah. Judah, your brothers will praise you. You will defeat your enemies. Your brothers will bow down to you. Judah is like a young lion. My son, you are like a lion standing over the animal it killed. Like a lion, Judah lies down to rest, and no one is brave enough to disturb him. Men from Judah's family will be kings. And true enough, kings, the king duties, kings were established from Judah. Even though that was not originally in the example I'm going to read, but I'm going to show you why and how this prophecy came to pass. Kings came out of Judah. This, the sign that his family rules will not leave his family before the real king come. And so the real king is talking about Yah. All right, and we're going to get into how Yah is the established king, but then we're going to get into how we have a flesh king on the earth, And we call those kings today as presidents. But we're going to get into all of that. Let me not get ahead of myself because I got a lot to share in this text, in this recording. All right? Then many people will obey and serve him. He ties his donkeys to the best grapevines. He washes his clothes in the best wine. His eyes are red from drinking wine. His teeth are white from drinking milk. Zebulun. Zebulun will live near the sea. His sea coast will be a safe place for ships. His land will continue as far as the city of Sidon. Issachar. Issachar is like a donkey that has worked too hard. He will lie down under his heavy load. He will see his land is pleasant and that his resting place is good. But he will agree to carry heavy loads. He will agree to work as a slave. Dan will rule his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan will be like a snake at the side of the road. He will be like a dangerous snake lying near the path. That snake bites a horse's foot and the rider falls to the ground. Yah, I am waiting for your salvation. And Dan, you can go into Judges and read about Dan. But yeah, Dan is a tribe that's not really spoken on. But you can go into Judges and read about Dan. Gad, a group of robbers will attack Gad, but Gad will chase them away. Asher, Asher land will grow much good food. He will have food fit for a king. Naphtali, Naphtali is like a deer running free, and his words are beautiful. Joseph, Joseph is like a wild donkey, like a young donkey by a spring, like colts grazing in a pasture. People attacked him and made life hard for him. Men with arrows became his enemy, but he won the fight. With his mighty bow and his skillful arm, he gets power from the mighty one of Jacob, which is Yah, from the shepherd, the rock of Israel, the Elohim of your father who helps you. May Yah, all-powerful, bless you and give you blessings from the sky above and from the deep below. May he give you blessings from breast and womb. My parents had many good things happen to them, and I, your father, was blessed even more. Your brothers left you with nothing, but now I pile all my blessings on you as high as a mountain. Because Joseph actually preserved the tribe of Israel through the famine. So that's why he's bestowing that upon Joseph. Benjamin is like a hungry wolf. In the morning, he kills and eats. In the evening, he shares what is left. All right? And these are the 12 families of Israel. Again, Dinah is left out. Folks, don't you see this? Dinah does not have a prophecy here. So, and what is their father said to them? He gave each son a blessing that was right for him. Then Israel gave them a command. He said, when I die, I want to be with my people. I want to be buried with my ancestors in the cave in the field of Ephron, the Hittite. The cave is in the field of Machpelah near Mamre in the land of Canaan. Abram bought that field from Ephron so that he could have a burying place. Abraham and his wife Sarah are buried in that cave. Isaac and his wife Rebekah are buried in that cave. I buried my wife Leah in that cave. That cave is the field that was bought from the Hittites. After Jacob finished talking to his sons, he lay down, put his feet back on the bed, and died. Okay? So right as he gave that prophecy, then he gave up the ghost, y'all. And so, again, Moses wrote Genesis through Deuteronomy. All right? So, Most High, in those 40 days and 40 nights, gave Moses these revelations of how Jacob gave this prophecy out. And I'm establishing this prophecy for a reason, because again, I'm going to show you how the Bible is not in chronological order, and how when you follow the commandments, you're able to puzzle piece this together and see the logic in the commandments, and you're able to see clearly. There's no confusion there. Okay, so I want to get back on track because I've established the prophecy, and so I'm going to show you how Yah actually he confirms Israel prophecy, and I'm going to show you that through the attributes of a priest and the attributes of a king. Okay, so he confirms this prophecy, and so we're going to go to Malachi. And we know the Leviticus priest was given tons of rules. So if you really want to get down to the gist of what Simeon and Levi was tasked with as far as priesthood, you will see that you can read Leviticus, the whole book of Leviticus. You can read that. But I'm going to give you a simplified version of Leviticus by going to Malachi 2, 1 through 9. And as I get there, Malachi 2, 1 through 9, as I get there, I want to also say this. Moses came from, the Leviticus priest line. Moses' bloodline came through the Leviticus priest line. And that's who Yah used as a Messiah to deliver the children of Israel from Egypt. The first Exodus was led by a Leviticus priest. Okay? And then we're going to get into Samuel, because Samuel is going to explain why the Leviticus priest was the leader and how a king, or i.e. a president, came about. So, rules for a priest. Priests, this rule is for you. Listen to me. Pay attention to what I say. Show honor to my name. If you don't respect my name, bad things will happen to you. You will say blessings, but they will become curses. I will make bad things happen because you don't show respect for my name. This is what the Yah All-Powerful said. Look, I will punish your descendants. During the festivals, your priests offer sacrifices to me. You take the dung and inside parts from the dead animals and throw them away, but I will smear that dung on your faces, and you will be thrown away with it. Then you will learn why I am giving you this command. I'm telling you these things so that my agreement with Levi, going back to what? Genesis 49, y'all. So that my agreement with Levi will continue. This is what the Yah All-Powerful said. Yah said, I made the agreement with Levi. I promised to give him life and peace. I gave him those things. Levi respected me and showed honor to my name. And he showed honor by removing the Shechem that defiled their sister Dinah. Okay? He taught the true teachings and don't teach lies. Levi was honest and he loved peace. He followed me and saved many people from being punished for the evil things they did. A priest should know Elohim's teaching. People should be able to go to a priest and learn Yah's teaching. See, they don't go to a king, they go to a priest. A priest should be Yah's messengers to the people. And again, I'm going to explain why I'm breaking down a duty of a priest and a duty of a king. Because with all this confusion, we have gotten away and we have now made a particular idol wrapped in all these attributes, the Messiah, and that's not true. Because guess what? The priesthood has their own duties and a king has their own duties. They're not wrapped all in one. Okay? And again, when you perform the commandments, this confusion will be removed from you. And then you will see the idol very clearly. All right. So I'm going to read 7 again. A priest should knows Elohim's teaching. People should be able to go to a priest and learn Elohim's teaching. A priest should be Yah's messenger to the people. But you priests, stop following me. You use the teachings to make people do wrong. You ruined the agreement with Levi. This is what Yah all-powerful said. You don't live the way I told you. You have not accepted my teaching. So I will cause people to hate you and think you are worth nothing. You see that? The punishment, i.e. curse, for not following the commandments. This is serious, folks. This is highly serious. So I'm going to go to Samuel, and I'm going to actually go to some screenshots because Samuel is a big book, but I just want to hit some highlights here in Samuel and how Samuel, which is what Samuel, as we see here, Samuel is after Joshua, Judges, Ruth, and Samuel is right before Kings. So we're going to go into Samuel, and we're going to get there by all right, so 1 Samuel 2:10, and it says here, Yah destroys his enemies. Elohim will thunder in heaven against people. Yah will judge even the lands that are far away. So Yah has always been the judge and will remain the judge. Not the king, not the priest. It is Yah. And he will give power to his king. He will make his chosen king strong. Now, I'm going to skip down, and you can read you can read 1 Samuel chapter 2, but for time's sake and for this recording's sake, we're going to, hit some highlights here in the book of Samuel. And here's where Yah is saying, he said, I will choose a priest I can trust. This priest will listen to me and do what I want. I will make his family strong, and he will always serve before my chosen king. So Yah is showing you that even though the children of Israel was calling for a king, Yah is establishing that the priest will always serve before the chosen king, because guess what? The priest served before Yah. And the king gets instruction from the priest. And if you look at it today, even the president gets advisors, even though they may be looked as, advisors. But yeah, there are so-called priests. Some people look at them as prophets. Some people look at them as false prophets. But there are priests that go before a president in today's society, folks, and advise the president. So today, we don't call them kings, even though we still have a king, because King Charles, shows that's still established, but we call them presidents in this captivity, okay? And they have advisors that go before, and I'm not saying they're getting advice from Yah, but I'm just saying this setup is still present. There's two different worlds going on, but the setup is still the same. And then they said, the elder said to Samuel, you're old. Your sons don't live right. They're not like you. Now give us a king. This is the Israelites asking Samuel for a king to rule us like other nations. And so the elders asked for a king to lead them. Samuel thought this was a bad idea, so he prayed to Yah. Then Yah told Samuel, do what the people tell you. They have not rejected you. They have rejected me. They don't want me to be their king. So Yah is not just he's not just talking to the priest, but he's been a king over the Israelites, and they have rejected him. This is why we have a president, y'all. This is why we have wicked people over us, because we rejected Yah as king. We rejected him as the Messiah. We rejected him as the king. We rejected him. And y'all don't even understand, even when y'all still trying to get a physical body, this is what you're doing in the spiritual realm. We're still rejecting him. And so I'm bringing this out because we have to see in the text that Yah is our Savior. He is not just our Savior, he is our King. Yahweh, he is our Savior, he is our King. And you can go back to my previous videos to see how he's our Savior, how he puts on his armor and he gonna come down here and fight for us to get us out of this captivity and give us the second Exodus. Okay? So listen to the people and do what they say, but give them a warning. And I'm going to go over this warning because it's important, because it's going into what we're getting ready to experience today. This warning still presides over us today because, again, we don't have a king. We have a president. And this president is still doing what he's explaining here. But give them a warning. Tell the people what a king will do to them. Tell them how a king rules. So tell them how a president rules. Tell them what the president will do to them. Okay? And then I'm going to go back. I'm going to open up so we can read over what a president does. How the president rules. And we are seeing it, we're witnessing it today. This hasn't changed. This is still going on today. So 1 Samuel 8, and we're going to go to 9. That way we can go over what he's talking about, okay? And so he says, those people asked for a king, so Samuel told them everything Yah said. Samuel said, if you have a king, i.e. president, ruling over you, this is what he will do. He will take away your sons and force them to serve him. That's a government, folks. That's a government. He will force them to be soldiers. That's the war draft. That's a war draft. Every son, every male in this United States has to sign up for selective draft when they turn 18. Okay? They must fight for his chariots, meaning they must fight even if they don't want to fight. World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and now we're coming up on World War III because that's soon to happen. I done seen the draft in a vision. I done seen the men lined up out of a building. They all lined up coming out of a building because the line was so long. So many men going in to sign up for the draft. And that's getting ready to happen, folks. See, because the Most High, his patience is waning. And he tells us this in Jeremiah, I think chapter 5, where he says when his patience is, when he's done, he just let loose his anger, which is the storehouse of punishment. Okay. He will force them to be soldiers. They must fight from his chariot and become horse soldiers in his army, what they call that cannon fodder. Your sons will become guards running in front of the king's chariot. A king will force your sons to become soldiers. He will choose which of your sons will be officers, generals, 5-star, they get those purple hearts. This is today, folks. This is what's going on today. This is why y'all woke me up. I was awakened at 4:30 a.m. And this is why you see 6:33 on my screen. Because I had written this out yesterday. I wrote out my outline yesterday. But because everything is happening so fast, I was tasked with doing this video today, early this morning. So I'm doing it. Which will be officers over 50 men. A king will force some of your sons to plow his field and gather his harvest. He will force some of your sons to make weapons or war, to make things for his chariot. A king, i.e. president, will take your daughters. Oh, the women being enlisted. The women are being enlisted. And they have been talking about that. Y'all should go to the Congress page and see about them talking about enlisting women. They are talking about enlisting women. your daughters, and force some of them to make perfume from him, some to cook and bake for him. A king, i.e., president, would take your best field, vineyards, and olive groves. He would take them from you and give them to his officers. Isn't they have executive orders where they could take farmlands, and if you have little small gardens, they have executive orders where they can come in and take that from you. And if you don't believe me, go read it. It's out there. The World Wide Web, the Most High has released from Daniel, as he said, he released the knowledge is out there. Executive orders is how they would do that. He would take 1/10 of your grain and grapes. That's taxes, folks, because tithes was not really money. Tithes was food. So this is why he's talking here about food. 1/10, 10%, and the taxes don't stop at 10% because it's progressive. So he takes even more. The president takes more than that if you make more. So if you make more in your wages, you're paying more than 10%. And he will give them to his officers and servants. Right. So isn't the Pentagon budget bloated with all the tax dollars? This is where they're putting the money, folks. This is prophesied right here. And it hasn't changed today. They just changed the titles, and they changed how, the money is not called tithes, they call taxes. And they take all your tax monies and they send it over there to the Pentagon, and the Pentagon is your officers. I'm going to try to simplify this for you because, again, I'm not here to, play around with this idol that they done wrapped up. They told you this idol is a Leviticus priest and a king, and God, Yah, the Elohim, does not wrap attributes into one. They have separate duties. They have separate people that run those duties. And I'm going to show that to you just a moment. And I'm going to, after I finish this, then we're going to jump down into, because I want to show you when they first selected a king, where they first selected the tribe that they first selected the king from. And I can't explain why he chose the tribe of Benjamin, but we're going to show how even with the prophecy from Genesis 49, everything's self-corrected, okay? So it said, a king will take your men and women servants. He will take your best cattle and your donkeys. He will use them all for his own work. All right. And you can read on because, again, I'm not trying to make this very long and drawn out. I'm just trying to show you the similarities in us asking Yah for a king, and how we rejected Samuel, the priesthood, how we rejected the priesthood, and we asked Samuel for a king, and we rejected Yah because Yah was the king. Okay? Yah was our king, and he still is our king. He still is our king. Okay? So I'm going to go over just a little bit more in Samuel, but I just need to jump from the chapter 8. Again, I got screenshots to kind of keep me on track here. And then we're going to jump to 10, Samuel 10. And so Samuel brought all the tribes of Israel near. Then Samuel began to choose the new king. First, the tribe of Benjamin was chosen. Again, so he's choosing from Benjamin, and that was King Saul. But we know the story. King Saul fumbled the ball. King Saul was disobedient. King Saul did not follow Yah's commands in killing the Amalekite king. And so because of that, Yah ended up choosing King David. So you can go over there and read in 1 Samuel, because I'm not here to reteach the book to you. I'm just here to show you the importance of reading and performing the commandments. It breaks through the confusion. It breaks the confusion. And then you begin to see that a Messiah is not going to be a priest and a king together. A Messiah will really be Yah, but you're going to see who the Messiah is. And I'm gonna show you how the Most High is going to bring back his beloved King David. But King David ended up superseding Saul because Saul fumbled the ball by being disobedient, and so y'all removed his spirit from Saul. And then even in the book of Samuel goes into showing you that we can only perform the commandments if y'all place his spirit on us. Because when y'all removes his spirit, he removes his spirit and he sends an evil spirit on our lives. So the book of Samuel goes into that too. So you should take time out and read the book of Samuel, if nothing else. If you're not going to perform the commandments, if you're not going to, read the commandments, you should definitely read how the Most High places spirit on your life. Because he places the spirit on your life to perform the commandments. It's through y'all is how we are able to perform the commandments. We don't perform the commandments on our own. We perform the commandments through y'all's spirit. And then when we have disobeyed that performing the commandments, then the Most High removes his spirit and places an evil spirit on your life. That's what happens. And that's what's going on in the spiritual realm of things. Okay? And then the Yah don't answer your prayers on top of that too. He turns his face from you. He don't answer your prayers when he removes his spirit and places an evil spirit on your life. He don't answer your prayer. And you can get that from the previous videos. I've gone over that. So, all right. So once King David was chosen, we're going to go to and I'm going to go over this too, because this is so important here. Then the people said to Samuel, where are the people who said they didn't want Saul to rule as king? That's today's day when people telling us we need to go out and vote. And then they mark you by placing that sticker. That's why they place that sticker. The sticker is placed on you to mark you as a person who participated in selecting a king or a president. And when you don't have that sticker, then you are basically an outcast. It shows the people that you didn't participate in that process. That's all that. That's what I wanted to bring out about that. And we're still like that today because they're going from house to house and they use Israelites to be the voter registration, the voter people, the voter block to compel the people get out and vote and stuff, or bring your booty to the poll was the one that they did 2 years ago. And they used Israelite women on Azarah poles. I'm going to tell you like it is. Those poles those women was on was Azarah's poles. They put Israelite women on Azarah's poles to tell you to bring your booty out to the poll. These people have not changed nothing. They've only rebranded. Everything they've used against us to keep us in this oppressive state, to keep us disobedient to Yah, because the Azarah pole is something that Yah hates. And they just rebranded it. And that's what they've done. So, like I said, you can go out there and reread. You can read Samuel on your own. Okay? Because this is really important, because Samuel is bringing us to the current day of a president and what to look forward to as far as being up under a president, because a president is cruel, as you see. They're not nice. But I want to get back on track. And so getting back on track, I'm going to go to Ruth, okay? So to the book of Ruth, right before Samuel, we're going to go to Ruth 4 and 18. And I'm going to Ruth because I'm going to show you how Genesis 49 said kings will come out of Judah. But we saw in Samuel that Samuel chose Benjamin, not Judah, first. But because Saul fumbled the ball and was disobedient, then Samuel ended up choosing King David from the tribe of Judah. And so we're going to establish Judah's lineage here. And Judah's lineage comes from Ruth and Boaz. And we're going to see who Boaz come from. And Boaz come from Judah and Tamar Perez. So this is the family history of Perez. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz. And Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse. And Jesse was the father of David. Oh, our beloved King David. And so I'm bringing this out because, again, when you start following the commandments, even the chronological, the family tree will begin to make sense. And not only that, you'll begin to see the lies in the family tree that they created over in the New Trash Man, also known as the New Testament. You'll begin to see the lies that they created over there. And again, Yah does not mix priesthood and the kinghood together. They don't come wrapped into one person. So that right there should be y'all telltale signs to come out of this idolatry. But if you remain there, you're just remaining there because you're being just outright disobedient, rebellious to the Most High Yah at this point. So I'm going to go into 1 Kings and 13:2. And I'm going to bring this story out because we know about King David and all his many tribulations and King Solomon. But even through all of that, Yah still remain with King David's family, which is the tribe of Judah. Okay, just like he said in Genesis 49, where kings will come out of Judah. Okay, so it goes on to say here, then Yah had commanded the man of God, and remember, I go over this man of God in the 10 established matters, to speak against the altar. He said, altar, Yah says to you, David family will have a son. His name will be Josiah. The priests of high places are now burning incense on you, but Josiah will offer the priests on you and burn human bones on you so you can never be used again. And believe it or not, King Josiah did just that. I'm going to go into that by going to 2 Kings 21:26. All right. And so Ammon was buried in his grave at the garden of Uzzah. His son Josiah became the new king. So this is when Josiah became king. And I'm going to go over to 2 Chronicles because Chronicles backs up and validate the book of Kings. That's the whole point. Chronicles not just give just the lineage, but it backs up what Kings is talking about. And sometimes it goes into more depth. So it says here, all right, Ammon was 22 years old. And so you see, we didn't get that information in 2 Kings 21. We didn't know Ammon was 22 years old. See how Chronicle gives you more information? When he became king of Judah, he was king for 2 years in Jerusalem. And I'm going to skip down to 25 because that's really where I wanted to be. So it says, but the people of Judah killed all the servants who planned against King Ammon. Then the people chose Ammon's son Josiah to be the new king. Ammon. Yeah, Ammon. And so you have to go through about one of King David's sons, Ammon, and how all that came about. But I'm not here to rehash King David family and his turmoil. I'm here to go over King Josiah. All right. And so, like I said, King David did not crossbreed or mingle his duties with the Levites. And I'm going to go back to 1 Samuel and apologize for skipping everywhere, but I'm just trying to show you the examples. I'm not trying to teach you the book. So the example of how even King David, when he became king, King David did not mingle his duty with the Levites. So it says here, and I'm going to read 3 through 6. Now, what food do you have with you? Give me 5 loaves of bread or whatever you have to eat. The priest said to David, I don't have any ordinary bread here, but I do have some of the holy bread. Because guess what? He's talking to the priest. The king is talking to the priest. Your officers can eat it if they have not had sexual relations with any women. David answered the priest, we have not been with any women. My men keep their bodies holy every time we go out to fight, even on ordinary missions. And this is just something for men who getting ready to be put into the war draft. This is what you should really be doing, keeping your body holy, because this is important. And this is especially true today. There was no bread except the holy bread. So the priest gave David this bread. This was the bread that the priest put on the holy table before Yah. Each day, they took this bread away and put fresh bread on its place. So you see, even the king was not doing the priestlyhood duties. So Yah has always established the priesthood to be separate from the king. And also, one last thing to reiterate that. And again, I apologize for skipping all over the place, but these notes that I have, Samuel actually, he lays out what a king does, okay? So I want to go back to 1 Samuel 10, and he says here, Samuel brought all the tribes of Israel near. Then Samuel began to choose the new king. First, the tribe of Benjamin was chosen. Samuel said to all the people, see, the man of Yah has chosen. There is no one like Saul among the people. Then the people shouted, long live the king. The president. All right. So Samuel explained the rules of the kingdom to the people. He wrote the rules in a book and put the book before Yah. Then Samuel told the people to go home. So the king has rules and the priest has rules. And so Samuel wrote that book in 1 Samuel 10:25. And as we've read before, the priesthood, the Levites has a book that's called the Leviticus book. And then Malachi 2:1-9 shows you how the Levites broke those rules. So again, the king has a book and the Levites has a book. No Messiah comes wrapped all in one. Okay. And like I said, Yah is our Messiah, but since we wanted a fleshly king, Yah gonna give us that king, but Yah is our savior, folks. And so I'm gonna go over to 2 Kings 22:2. And I apologize if this sounds confusion, but I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm just trying to show you the attributes of a king and the attributes of a Levite. I'm not trying to rehash stories, and I'm not trying to keep things in order as far as when the king was established, when the king was... No, I'm not doing that. That's not the goal of this video. The goal of this video is to show you the attributes of a king and the attribute of a priest. And not only that, I'm using King Josiah, which is David's family, to show you the last king that we had before we went into the transatlantic slave trade. The last king was King Josiah, folks. And so I'm using him as to what he did to please Yah and how he gave us the last Passover. I'm using King Josiah as that example. So that's why I'm skipping up everywhere. And it's not to confuse you, but it's to show you the attributes of a king and the attributes of a priest. So I've already read you the attributes of a priest. And you can read more by going into Leviticus. But here's the attributes of a king, which was written by Samuel. Samuel wrote the book for the king. And then here's what Josiah did. All right. So Josiah, 2 Kings 22:2. And so Josiah began his rule over Judah. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to rule. He ruled 31 years. So 8 years old and 31 years, folks. That's a long time. From a child to his adult. His mother name was Jedediah, the daughter of Adadiah of Baskah. Josiah did what Yah said was right. He followed Elohim like his ancestor David. Josiah obeyed Yah's teaching. He did exactly what Yah wanted. And when you read on what he did, you can go into 2 Chronicles. I'm not going to flip there because this is long. So you can go to 2 Chronicles 34 chapter 2 through 33. And basically it's going to establish what he did here in Kings, but it's going to go into depth onto what he did. And so here, 2 Kings 22:9, he went to King Josiah and told him what happened to Shaphan, said, "Your servants have gathered all the money that was in the temple. They gave it to the men who supervised the work of Yah's temple." Who supervised the work? The Levites. So he's giving money to the Levites, because guess what? The Levites did not have land. They were giving tithes and offering. So that's why he gathered all the money and he gave it to the Levites. The king didn't keep all the money. The king gave the money to the Levites. Okay? All right, so let's go on. We're going to read down Psalm to 13. And you can read this text in between on your own. King Josiah said, "Go and ask Yah what we should do. Ask for me for the people and for all Judah. Ask about the words of his book that was found. Yah is angry with us because our ancestors did not listen to the words of this book. They did not obey all the commands that was written for us." See? Everything is on these commandments, folks. Nothing else. No sacrifice, no atonement. Everything is on these commandments. All right? Then he goes on, and you can read the rest, because how he's talking to the prophetess. So although there are prophets, then there are prophetess. Okay? So he goes on and he goes to 18. King Josiah of Judah sent you to ask advice from Yah. Tell Josiah that this is what Yah said. The Elohim of Israel says, "You heard the words I spoke against this place and those who live here. And when you heard those things, your heart was soft. You showed your sorrow before Yah. I said that these terrible things will happen to this place. So you tore your clothes to show your sadness, and you began to cry. That is why I heard you. This is what Yah said." So when we begin to humble ourselves, and I go into this established matters, go back to the previous video. When you humble yourself, humility brings Yah to listen to your prayers, even when you are in a sinful state. King Josiah tore his clothes in a sign of humility. And because he humbled himself, Yah came to hear him as he was trying to get everybody back on track. All right. So we're going to go to 2 Kings 23, 4 through 28. And here's where a lot of my reading is going to come from. But you can also see the same text in 2 Chronicles 35, 1 through 19. Okay? And so this where the prophetess is going to help Josiah. So King Josiah told all the leaders of Judah and Jerusalem to come and meet with him. Then the king went up to Yah's temple. Separate duties, separate attributes, folks. All the people of Judah and the people who lived in Jerusalem went with him. The priests, the prophets, and all the people from the least important to the most important went with him. Then he read the book of the agreement. What is the agreement? This was the book of the law, the commandments that was found in Yah's temple. Josiah read the book. So see, the king is reading it. But he had to do what? Go to the temple, to the Levite temple. Josiah read the book so that all the people could hear it. The king stood by the column and made an agreement with Yah. He promised to follow Yah and to obey his commands, the laws, and his rules. He promised to do this with all his heart and soul. He promised to obey the agreement written in this book. All the people stood to show that they promised to follow the agreement. Same thing they did with Moses. And then the king commanded Hilkiah, this is the prophetess, the high priest, the other priests, and the gatekeeper to bring out Yah's temple all the dishes and things that were made to honor Baal, Azarah, and the stars of heaven. Then Josiah burned those things outside Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron Valley. Then they carried the ashes of Bethel. The king of Judah had chosen some ordinary men to serve as priests. These false priests were burning incense at the high places in every city of Judah and all the towns around Jerusalem. They burned incense to honor Baal, the sun, the moon, the constellations, and all the stars in the sky. But Josiah stopped those false priests. Josiah removed the Azarah pole from Yah's temple. He took the Azarah pole outside the city to Kidron Valley and burned it there. Then he beat the burned pieces into dust and scattered the dust over the graves of the common people. Then King Josiah broke down the houses of male prostitutes who were in Yah's temple. Women also used these houses and made little tent covers to honor the false goddess Azarah. So when you're on the pole, you're honoring a false god. At the time, the priests did not bring the sacrifices to Jerusalem and offer them on Yah's altar in the temple. The priests lived in the cities all over Judah. They burned incense and offered sacrifices at the high places in those cities. The high places were everywhere, from Geba to Bathsheba. And the priests ate their unleavened bread in those towns with the ordinary people, not at the special place for priests in the temple of Jerusalem. But King Josiah ruined the high places and brought the priests to Jerusalem. Josiah also destroyed the high places that were on the left side of the city gate, by the gate of Joshua. Joshua was the ruler of the city. Okay. Topeth was a place in the valley of Hinnom, son, where people killed their children and burned them on an altar to honor the false god Molech, modern day abortions. Josiah ruined that place so that no one could use it again. In the past, the kings of Judah had put some horses and a chariot near the entrance to Yah's temple. This was near the room of an important official named Nathan Melech. The horses and chariot was to honor the sun god. Josiah removed the horses and burned the chariot. So Josiah is showing you, when you are repentant to Yah, you got to go through and you got to clean your house out. You got to clean your house. If you're going to re-honor the agreement of the laws and commandments to Yah, you got a clean house. And this is what Josiah is doing through the city. He cleaning out to just honor the agreement. He's cleaning up and cleaning out, folks, and removing the things that anger him, that anger Yah, okay? In the past, the kings of Judah had built altars on the roof of Ahab building. King Manasseh had also built altars in the two courtyards of the Lord's of Yah's temple. Josiah destroyed all the altars and threw the broken pieces into the Kidron Valley. In the past, King Solomon built some high places on the shore here near Jerusalem. The high places were on the south side of that hill. King Solomon built one of these places of worship to honor Azarah, the horrible thing the people of Sidon worship. He also built one to honor Shemosh, that horrible thing that the Moabites worship. And King Solomon built one high place to honor Milcom, that horrible thing the Ammonites worship. But King Josiah ruined all these places of worship. See, he went and undid what King Solomon did, his grandfather, okay? Because Josiah is from the lineage of David. So King Solomon was his grandfather or maybe great-grandfather. I don't know, but you can go back and look at the order of things. But that's, something he undid from his ancestor. So to make it right, he went back. Like Leviticus 26 say, we gotta repent for our current sins and our ancestors' sins. So you see how he's undoing what King Solomon did? Okay, so I gave you 5 seconds to see that, because when you follow the commandments, that becomes clear. You got to do that. There's no way around it. You got to clean your house. You got to repent for your ancestors' sins and your sins. Okay? Josiah, he broke all the memorial stones and Asherah poles. Then he scattered dead men's bones over that place. Josiah also broke down the altar in high place at Bethel. Jeroboam's son of Naboth had made this altar. Jeroboam caused Israel to sin. Josiah broke down both that altar and the high place. He broke the stones of the altar to pieces. Then he beat it into dust. He burned the Asherah pole. Josiah looked around and saw graves on the mountain. He sent men, and they took the bones from the graves. Then he burned the bones on the altar in the way Josiah ruined the altar. Now, remember, he was prophesied to burn from that man of God who disobeyed y'all. That the man of God that was killed by, he wasn't ate, I'm sorry. He was killed by a lion. That man of God who prophesied that he would burn the bones on the altar, he did just that. This is what 2 Kings 23 is talking about. And when you go back to 1 Kings 13:2, that's where it was prophesied, the man of God who was killed by the lion because he disobeyed y'all command. Y'all do not play about disobedience, folks. This idea that he does that, he told us in Malachi 2:1-9 that he don't play. He don't play about disobedience. Okay? Josiah looked around and saw graves on the mount. He sent men and they took the bones from the graves. Then he burned the bones on the altar. In this way, Josiah ruined the altar. This happened according to the message from Yah that the man of God announced. I'm going to click that because this here is a footnote. My Bible cross-references. And I don't show it often, but it's there. The man of God announced these things when Jeroboam stood beside the altar at the feast. Then Josiah looked around and saw the grave of the man of God. Because remember, he disobeyed God, so he wasn't buried with his fathers. Okay? He was not buried with his fathers. So Josiah said, "What is that monument I see?" The people of the city told him, "It is the grave of the man of God who came from Judah. This man of God told about the things you have done to the altar of Bethel. He said them a long time ago." See, the prophecy's still coming to pass, folks. So just because he said it long time ago doesn't mean that it's been accomplished. Y'all is still bringing these prophecies to pass. And I'm going to show you a prophecy of how he's still bringing these things to pass, okay? Josiah said, "Leave the man of God alone. Don't move his bones." So they left his bones and the bones of the man of God from Samaria. Josiah also destroyed all the temples at the high places in the city of Samaria. The kings of Israel had built those temples, which had made Yah very angry. Josiah destroyed them, just as he destroyed the place of worship at Bethel. Josiah killed all the priests of the high places that were in Samaria. He killed the priests on those altars and burned men's bones on the altars so that they could never be used again. Then he went back to Jerusalem. The people of Judah celebrate Passover. And I'm reading this, but you will get more depth of the Passover if you go over to 2 Chronicles 35, 1-19. Okay? Then King Josiah gave a command to all the people. He said, "Celebrate the Passover, for Yah, your Elohim, do this just as is written in the book of the agreement." The people had not celebrated a Passover like this since the days when the judges ruled Israel. None of the kings of Israel or the kings of Judah ever had such a big celebration for Passover. They celebrated this Passover for Yah in Jerusalem during Josiah's 18th year as king. Josiah destroyed the mediums, wizards, the house of gods, the idols, and all the horrible things people worship in Judah and Jerusalem. He did this to obey the law written in the book that Hilkiah, the priest, found in Yah's temple. There had never been a king like Josiah before. Josiah turned to Yah with all his heart. So if you're going to turn to Yah with all your heart, you got to remove everything. Mediums, wizards, idols, everything that detests Asherah poles. You got to remove all these things from your life if you're going to turn to Yah with all your heart, with all his soul, and with all his strength. No king had followed all the law of Moses like Josiah. And there has never been another king like Josiah since that time. And it hasn't been. And I'm going to go over who killed King Josiah. And then I'm going to go over why they have a statue of this person in New York Museum today, current today. Okay? But Yah did not stop being angry with the people of Judah. He was still angry with them for everything that Manasseh had done. Okay? Yah said, I forced the Israelites to leave their land. I will do the same to Judah. I will take Judah out of my sight. I will not accept Jerusalem. Yes, I chose that city. I was talking about Jerusalem when I said my name will be there, but I will destroy the temple that is in that place. All the other things that Josiah did are written in the book, the history of the kings of Judah. So that's another book. We're not going to get into that book. I'm not going to go about where that book is because that's not my topic here. Again, my topic is to show you there's a separate duties. The priest has a duty. The king has a duty. And when we rejected Yah as king, Yah gave us kings. He gave us a president. And he still chooses the presidents today, folks. That's in Proverbs. He still chooses the kings or the presidents today. Yah has not stopped doing what he's done in kings. He's still doing that today. This is why the president still calls the war draft, which is about to happen, as a quick reminder, as we're looking at this example here. And I'm going to go to 2 Kings 23, 29 through 34, because this is the deal. While Josiah was king, Pharaoh Necho, the king of Egypt, went to fight against the king of Assyria at the Euphrates River. Josiah went out to meet Necho at Megiddo. Pharaoh saw Josiah and killed him. And because Necho killed him, then it's going to go into where it happened. So Josiah's officers put his body in a chariot and carried him from Megiddo to Jerusalem. They buried Josiah in his own grave. Then the common people took Josiah's son, Jehoshaphat, and anointed him. They made Jehoshaphat the new king. Jehoshaphat was 23 years old when he became king. He ruled 3 months in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Halmutah, daughter of Jeremiah from Lebanon. Jehoshaphat did what Yah said was wrong. He did all the same things that his ancestors had done. Pharaoh Necho put Jehoshaphat in prison at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Jehoshaphat could not rule in Jerusalem. Pharaoh Necho forced Judah to pay 7,500 pounds of silver and 75 pounds of gold. See? Breaking of the commandments brings on taxation. This is why none of us can look at each other and say we're righteous or more righteous than the other. We all pay taxes, folks. We're all paying inflation. We're all paying taxes. Not one of us are exempt from these taxes. Okay. Pharaoh Necho made Josiah's son Elikam the new king. Elikam took the place of Josiah, his father. Pharaoh Necho changed Elikam's name to Jehoiakim. And Pharaoh Necho took Jehoahaz away to Egypt, where he died. So Pharaoh Necho is in the Museum of New York. And he's there because the people who rule over us today, that place all this taxation on us and give us little wages, they have followed Necho's outline of keeping us in sin, keeping us breaking the agreement, keeping us from following the commandments. That's the whole purpose of Pharaoh Necho in that museum. Okay, you can look it up, and I'll show you some screenshots here of that, of the for those who don't have the internet or who don't feel like going to look it up, but you can see it here in this recording. The statue of Pharaoh Necho placed in the museum. This pharaoh was Pharaoh Necho, who killed King Josiah, and there hasn't been a king like that ever since. And we've been in captivity, folks. We've been in oppression because we don't follow the commandments. We refuse to follow the commandments, folks. And this is why the Most High is getting ready, the war draft is getting ready to happen. Because the Most High told us when we choose kings, the king was going to do what? Take our sons and enlist our daughters. So anyway, I'm going to go on because, again, this has been really long. I'm looking at the timer, and I'm going to show you the coming Messiah will be King David. And this is in several places. I'm going to show you all the places where the Most High confirmed King David as the Messiah. So he's going to resurrect King David. So we're going to go to Jeremiah 30:9. And then we're gonna go some other places, because this is not the only place where he gives this prophecy. And like I said, the prophecies are still happening. So this prophecy is going to come to pass because all the kings have come out of Judah. That prophecy has happened. So none of Yah's word has returned unto him void. The people of Israel and Judah will not serve foreign countries. No, they will serve Yah, their Elohim. I will send them David, their king, and they will serve him. I'm going to hit this asterisk. All right. So you can see that footnote. And I'm going to go over to Jeremiah 23:5, because it said twice in Jeremiah. Yah established his word, but he just didn't establish it in he didn't just establish it in Jeremiah. He established it in other books, and I'm going to bring those out so you could reference it and write it down. You could pause this video, write down these scriptures and look it up yourself and read those stories on your own time. This message is from Yah. The time is coming when I will raise up a good branch from David's family. He will be a king who will rule in a wise way. He will do what is fair and right in the land. All right. And again, King David do not take on the Levites' duties. So the idol that y'all keep holding up is false, because that idol holds the duties of a priesthood and a king wrapped in one, and that's just not so. So Ezekiel 34:23. Then I will put one shepherd over them, my servant David. Again, King David is going to be resurrected. He will feed them and be their shepherd. Then I, Yah, will be their Elohim, and my servant David will be their ruler, living among them. But isn't King David already laying with his fathers? Y'all should look it up. King David is already is sleeping with his fathers. He's sleeping with his fathers. I meant not living, but sleeping with his fathers. My servant David will be the ruler, living among them. I, Yah, have spoken. So it's not going to be a son. It's not going to be a progenitor. It's going to be David himself. All right, so let's go to Hosea, because Hosea got something for us too. Hosea 3:5. All right, here we go. After this, the people of Israel will come back, because Jeremiah 30 goes into how we're going to come back from exile, because we are in exile, folks. After this, the people of Israel will come back and look for Yah, their Elohim, and for David, their king. King David, going to be resurrected. In the last days, they will come to honor Yah and his goodness. And I'm looking forward to honoring him, because this oppression, oh my God, this oppression has been awful. And I repent for my ancestors. I repent for myself. I repent for my ancestors. All right, so we're going to go to, I skipped one, Ezekiel 37:24. All right, so we're going to go back to Ezekiel, but all of it's the same message. 37:24. Okay. And my servant David will be their king over them. There will be only one shepherd over all of them. They will live by my rules. We're going back to those commandments. And if you refuse, then you know where you're going to go. They will live by my rules and obey my laws. They will do the things I tell them. All right? And then Isaiah, last but not least, old prophet Isaiah, his book is still coming to pass too, folks. 55:3-5. Listen closely to what I say. Listen to me so that you will live. I will make an agreement with you that will last forever. It will be an agreement you can trust, like the one I made with David. A promise to love him and be loyal to him forever. I made David a witness of my power for all nations. I promised him that he will become a ruler and a commander of many nations. There are nations and places you don't know, but you will call for them to come. They don't know you, but they will run to you. This will happen because, guess what? Yah, your Elohim wants it. It will happen because the Holy One of Israel honors you. And so he's letting David know he's going to resurrect him, bring him back. We're going to see a resurrection, and that's going to be King David. Not that idol, Heber Jeebus over in that new trash man. And King David will be king, and Yah will be the Holy One of Israel. And the Levitical priesthood will be back in its place. Jeremiah 30 lays that out. All right. So I'm going to leave on this note, because this is a really long video. And a lot of times these videos take up a lot of space. So, like I said, I'm going to go to Psalms 20. All right. Psalms 20, 1-5. May Yah answer you in times of trouble. May the Elohim of Jacob protect you. May he send you help from his holy place. May he support you from Zion. May he remember all the gifts you have offered. May he accept all your sacrifices. May he give you what you really want. May he make all your plans successful. We will celebrate when he helps you. We will praise the name of Elohim. May Yah give you everything you ask for. And goodbye.